What's going on, guys? It's going to be our last time with the Jackson. This guitar, I can't. There's just certain guitars, guys. This thing does really everything really well. It makes you want to play it. And if I didn't say it in the live review Saturday, I really got to do a shout out to Shandor Music for allowing me a week with this guitar. I have to say, I know it's the map price is $2,100. It's an expensive guitar. Expensive for me. Expense is all relative, if that makes sense, guys. For some people, this would be an inexpensive guitar if you're buying $5,000 and $6,000 Murphy Lab Gibsons. This would be inexpensive. For someone like me, that their average guitar is between $500 and $1,000, this is about twice what I normally pay for an instrument. In some cases, 3 times. But I can feel the difference. I can feel how stable the neck is. There's just a feel that this guitar has. It's just a well-crafted guitar. And really, that's all I can say. Is there probably a better guitar out there? I'm sure there is. But this is a well-crafted guitar. Every time I touch these ends, and this is not custom shop. This is just Jackson, USA. There's nothing special about it as far as being a custom order. But the frets for a standard USA made Jackson, it's nice. It's a double chamfered fret. The frets feel like a fret job I would do. Not an over-the-top fret job, but if I try to do a nice job for someone, they say they like polished and smooth frets, this is what I shoot for. I do a slight double chamfer on it. I try to get the frets nice, smooth, silky feeling, even feeling. This guitar has that. The tremolo returns to 0 really well. It flutters well. The guitar just stays in tune. It's a nice guitar, and the finish on it's nice. Again, I want to thank Shandor Music, and they keep saying that they're going to pop into the live streams, guys. They have not yet, but they're my local store, and they've given me the opportunity twice now to bring guitars home and review for you guys. And they know most of my audience is not local, so that means a lot to me. The odds of one of you guys calling them, I hope you do. Hopefully one of you do live in the Shenandoah Valley, and you'll give them some love. That brings us to what I want to talk about tonight. And I'm going to open up the chat. I've got a huge list of things I want to go over. I guess, first off, there's really 2 big things that are big news. But before I get into new releases, I want to talk about what I see happening. And the reason why I thank Shandor Music for what they're doing. It's a local store. They're not a big store. They're not a big store. They're trying to compete with the big boys. But that brings me to what I want to go over. I've got a little cheat sheet here because there's stuff that I really want to get to. PMT Music. I've watched a lot of their videos. The guy that plays guitar on there, I can't remember his name. Just a funny guy. I've been watching their stuff for years. Their YouTube channel is no more. Their website is no more. And all their inventory has been bought out by the same company that, guess who they bought out last time? That's right. They bought out Guitar Amp and Keyboard Center, GAC. Exact same company, just purchased all of PMT's stuff. Not only did we lose GAC and now PMT, but we also lost Buy Music. And if you're on this side of the pond, we lost Sam Ash. Sam Ash was big. When I was playing out, you had Venomans, Washington Music Center, which most people don't know it as Washington Music Center. I can't think of the what most people refer it to, and we had Sam Ash. All of them, other than Washington Music Center, are gone. And these were big companies, guys. These were when large bands came to the DC area, they went to Veneman's Music. They went to Sam Ash. They went to Washington Music Center. This is where they did, sign autographs. They would go pick up the guitars, play for people, and just hang out and do things before the concert. That was how this area was. I don't know how it was in your all's area, but if, let's say, Def Leppard was playing the Nissan Pavilion, that's what it was called back then, they were at Veneman's Music that Saturday. You can count on it. And it was a madhouse. Or they were in, Washington Music Center. Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses, I remember them going to Washington Music Center. We're losing stores. Now, I'm in a large metropolitan area, so a lot of people don't have, a Veneman's or a Sam Ash or a Washington Music Center near them. These were big stores. And even back then, the little tiny, my local music store, Shenandoah Music, they were here. I mean, I bought my first PV instrument off them, and I was playing Gibson. I played Gibson for quite some time. I had a Gibson Explorer, and I was a Gibson fanboy. I walked in, he said, "You need to play this PV." And I'm like, well, why would I want to play a PV? I play a Gibson. Nose up in the air. But after I played the PV, I realized that he was right. The PV was an awesome guitar. Ended up going back and buying another PV. Bought a PV Vandenberg off of them. But I would go in and I would give, at the time it was Roger was the owner, and I would give Roger the opportunity to earn my business. And I did a lot of studio stuff back then. And we had a music store called Rolls Music. They were in Falls Church. They were a music store. I mean, they sold drums and guitars and basses, but they were more of a live sound and recording music place. Lots of keyboards, PA equipment, recording equipment, 48 track stuff, big reel-to-reel machines. I remember when the first ADATs come in, I had a Tascam TRS-8. Ended up getting a blackface Alesis ADAT and upgrading my board to a Mackie Pro 16L, VLZ Pro 16. Still have the board. Ended up having the 8-track Tascam, 2 blackface Alesis ADATs, and my Korg M1. And that was my music studio. Had a Neumann mic, one, because that's all I could afford. A couple SM57s, a couple SM58s, and of course guitars, basses, stuff like that. But I always gave Shenandoah Music the opportunity to support them, if that makes sense. And with PMT going bye-bye, it makes me wonder what the future is. It going to be, Guitar Center next? Because Sweetwater just pounds at home, guys. You get to Sweetwater's website, their online presence. I mean, I didn't even realize it. When I started doing YouTube again, this is a true story. Of course, everything I say is true. I don't know why I said that. I was rewiring my rack unit that hadn't been working in many years. And I remember looking at some of the cables and they said Sweetwater. And that rack was wired for my live band when I played out 25 years ago. So I had ordered cables from Sweetwater. And I remember going into Shenandoah Music getting, wanting a 100-foot 32 channel snake. buying XLR cables and insert cables. You've got the tip ring sleeve, and on this side you got just it's tip ring, and tip ring sleeve, or LXR. It's for an insert where you can just put an insert in on your channel strip. It goes to an effects, but it's just one cable. It goes in, out, one cable. It makes wiring easier. I remember going in, they were just expensive. So evidently I had ordered stuff from Sweetwater way back then, and it was just an online store. A couple years ago, we went up to Sweetwater during Guitar Fest, I believe it was. Was it Guitar Fest?
Gear Fest.
Gear Fest, that's what it was, Gear Fest. And the size of their campus, guys, is just phenomenal. I mean, my local music store, the whole store would fit just in their guitar room. Their guitar room was huge. Then right next to it, they have a bass room. Then across the way, there's a piano room. Then there's a keyboard room. There's a percussion room. There's a room for basses. There's a room for live sound. And all through the center, they have all these little kiosks set up with effects pedals where you can just grab a guitar off the wall, walk out in the kiosk, plug it in, put your headphones on. You can listen to different amps, plug in different stuff. There's these huge racks of pedals. You just go up and grab a pedal, take it over to a little workstation, set it on the workstation, plug it in, plug the guitar of your choice into it, try it out. Don't like it? Walk back over to the 5,000 pedals on this huge rack and say, okay, I'm going to try this one. It's hard to compete with something like that. But stores like that have just changed the industry. That's why we show up here, guys. I mean, what do we always say? We're here like we used to do at the local music store. We're here chilling out and hanging out. And I just see a change that kind of worries me.
You need to read Birdman's comment.
Whose?
Birdman.
Birdman. Avery, let's identify my Ibanez together, if you will. I hope the pics made it to your email. Okay, we can do that, Birdman. We've got a long list of things to go over, and I already told Nicholas that we would look at. Nicholas sent me some cool pics of something that he bought when it was brand new, and I hate to venture what this thing Nicholas has is worth now. I'm sure you guys will be chomping at the bit at it. It is an original. He bought it brand new for $30. It would have to be ungodly expensive to find an all original what he has. I'll let it out of the bag. Nicholas has an original Vox wah-wah pedal that he bought brand new. I think he said it was a 60s model. Let me go and see if I can find where that... Well, I'm getting off track. But Nicholas got this thing, and he sent me some pictures of it, so we're going to look at it later. But the reason I'm bringing all this up, guys, a lot of our stores are closing. And that's why, I always say if you can, support your local store. That's the big thing. And if you don't have a local store, I kind of get it. Or if your local stores, there are a bunch of butt munches there.
Nicholas says 68.
1968, Nicholas bought that Vox pedal. He paid $30 for it. We do have some pictures of it. That thing's got to be worth a ton of money. But these stores, GAC Music, we're not, Guitar Amp and Keyboard Center, that was huge. They were a big company. Buy Music, they were big. Sam Ash. These are big companies. Now, Sam Ash, their online was not so good. So a lot of people blamed Sam Ash for going under because of their online sales presence. Well, that's not the fact with Guitar Amp and Keyboard Center, GAC. That's not their problem. They had a huge online presence. They didn't make it. There's not a lot of profit in guitars. And I've, talked to you all before about it. That's why I don't really make guitars. I can't make what I make at work making guitars. And if I could, I would love to do it. But the amount of time that I take doing fret work and working on necks, if I had to make everything with scratch, and if I went out and bought, we're not talking about a Haas machine, just a decent CNC machine to help the process along, they would be $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 guitars, maybe even more than that. By the time I went through all the EPA regulations to be able to spray, it's just not there. That's why you're seeing Fender now selling direct. I'm sure that upset a ton of stores. Here you've got Fender, hey, buy our instruments, you're going to use our map price, and then Fender turns around and sells it on their online for less than the map. That's hard on your dealer network. So when you see, GAC Music and PMT, if you look, they're doing $50 million, $30 million a year, and they're making $2 or $3 million, and the rest is just, 10%, 15% profit, and that's not counting their overhead, the store, and their employees and taxes. I was watching a video, and they were showing what GAC made after their first year. They made $12,000 net profit, and I think it was 2022. But they sold 30 million euros, which translates to 40 million US.
Jupe said just use spray paint from Home Depot.
You know what, Jupe? When I had my shop, the EPA swung by my shop. We sprayed, I'm going to guess, maybe, 10, 15 gallons of catalyzed lacquer a month. And they put a stop work order right on the shop door. And they made us put in, it was 0.05 micron filtration with fire suppression. That shut us out. I mean, this was 25 years ago, and it was going to cost, I think it was about $90,000 to put this spray booth in my shop, just to spray 15 gallons of catalyzed lacquer, of Chemcraft lacquer. You can't eat that. I couldn't go to my customers when we were doing stairs, rails, and cabinets and saying, oh, by the way, there's a 20% upcharge or a 10% upcharge just because the EPA has forced me to put $100,000 in a spray booth that I sprayed 15 gallons of lacquer a month on. So we ended up taking a lot of stuff out in the field and spraying it and putting up plastic tents, which was 10 times worse than doing it in a controlled environment in the shop. From what I understand, it has gotten nothing but worse as far as requirements. And I'm in Virginia. They claim California is even worse. That's why when I look at Kiesel, Jackson, this Jackson right here, it's California made. So, you can't spray nitro in California. Why do you think Gibson is in Tennessee? So Kiesel, Jackson, all these companies, well, it's not nitro. Well, they can't spray nitro. That's against the law. So you've got all these companies now thinning out their margins to sell to the music stores, and then what do? And I'm 100% guilty. Can I get 10% off? Well, they're already on a 30%, 35% margin. You're going to make 20%, okay? And then you got to pay for your store, your employees, your insurance, rent, electric, all these things. There's just, in my line of work, we would be out of business in less than a year on a 30% margin. You can't make those numbers work. You can't. And people go, and I'm bad for this too, it becomes volume. You need more volume. You're making less, so you got to make more volume. Well, GAC was doing, 30 million euros. Okay, from what I understand. So that's going to be close to, I don't know what the conversion rate is, but it's more in US dollars. So they were definitely selling a product, but they only had about 8 or 9 million euro in profit after selling it. Now they have to pay all the employees, all the trucks, all the shipping and handling, the brick and mortar rent, the electric, all these things, administrative fees, taxes. It's all said and done. There's nothing left. When these stores get bought by these holding companies, the shareholders want to make money. So if you invest 30, $40 million a year and you make $1 million, those companies, these holding companies want to make money. And $1 million profit on a 30 or $40 million investment, that's bad math. I'm pretty good with numbers, and that's bad math. That's horrible. That's why we're seeing it. That's why I just want to, this is the end of store closings. I just wanted to bring up that PMT is gone. There is no more PMT. The cool videos that they were doing on YouTube, there are no more. Their YouTube channel's gone. Their online site is gone. So another one is gone. So, again, a free plug to my local store, Shenandoah Music. They have helped this channel in many ways, whether it's been a discount on a guitar that I wanted to review and I bought, or giving me guitars to review. So a free shout out to those guys. I hope they can continue to, at least in my area, be a good place to go and hang out and talk guitars, which they are. All right, next on my list, and we've got a lot. So number 2 was thanking Shenandoah Music for the Jackson and the Fender. Okay, now on to our next thing. We are picking up our layaway, and this is the Dragon Eye Burst Ibanez. We're getting it this weekend, and I gotta look at how our finances, but we're definitely bringing the guitar home. But I do have a case on layaway, and I should probably have another 2 weeks that I can leave that on layaway. They're cool over there. If I go over the 90 days, it's not like they're going to take my money. But I did get a case for the Yamaha RevStar, because everyone knows that's a guitar I plan on keeping. I like the guitar. I think it sounds awesome. So I did get a case for it. So I got to finish that layaway. But Saturday, we're most likely going to see a new guitar here to listen to, a new Ibanez S model. It is a fixed bridge, but it is awesome. It's an awesome guitar, beautiful finish on the guitar. So we're going to get that this weekend in here. And then next on my list, which was a plus, and we've talked about this before on the channel too, guys. Everyone knows that I want an Axe Effects. So Line 6, 10 years ago, come out with the Helix system. And they have just announced their 2nd gen Stadium model. There's really not too much information on it as far as the engine that they're running, what the DSP unit is, how much processing power, how much storage. It's just they've got a new engine out. They claim it is up to date, and they have 2 models, and it does not appear that people like me have been taken care of. As of right now, there are no Helix Mach 2s in a rack mount version available. It seems to be that they're going to have a Stadium. I don't know if the Stadium is the small one, but they have 2 new foot controllers coming out. So I get it. Rack gear is a thing of the past, but rack is coming back slowly. People are realizing the power of rack mount gear, whether it's just in the studio or people like me at home. It's convenient. It's easy to work with. You can put covers on it. Keeps it nice. So maybe they'll come out with a rack mount version. But again, back to profit. If you don't sell a lot of them, you can't make any money. Are you going to make 100 of them? Or are you going to make 5,000 of them? Well, they're going to make a lot of these floor units. They're probably looking at it going, it's not worth the design work to build a board, a case, and all the extra engineering to put this thing in a rack mount unit when we're not going to sell that many of them. Maybe. But as of right now, there is no rack mount Helix, to my knowledge, coming out. We'll have to see. Hopefully the new engine will address some of the issues that Helix has. Every DSP has issues. To name one with applied research technology, everyone used to say you're playing an art. I can tell because the weird modulation that the delay has. Helix has that little funny thing too. Same with the COD Cortex. They all have a quirk. And from what I'm understanding, this new engine has addressed some of the Helix quirks. I'm not too up on the Helix engine. I do have an HX Stomp here. It seems to be quite intuitive. I didn't have any problems with it. I've heard people say that the Helix, the way the engine works, or the form factor, they don't like how you scroll through it. I don't seem to have a problem getting around and navigating in the HX Stomp. Now, I don't know how that compares to a full-blown Helix, but the HX Stomp seems to work well. And I've never tinkered with a Quad Cortex, but they claim that the interface of the Quad Cortex is a little more user-friendly, and they claim the new Line 6 Stadium has taken all that into account. It's a much smoother interface, easier to understand what's going on. We'll know more. It's supposed to come out late summer, early fall. So that's that news. And if you paid attention to the Jackson review, the funny honey said she wanted to buy this Jackson. This Jackson right here. Beautiful Jackson. She has changed her mind. One, it's a little pricey. It is a USA made guitar, but she is looking at another guitar, and she needs your opinion, and I need your opinion on this thing. And I am going to go to Sweetwater right now. So we're going to go to display screen. And we are going to go to Sweetwater. And let me see. It's a Jackson. Let's see what comes up.
Jupe said, how much is it, Avery? I think he's talking about the red Jackson in there.
Jupe, the red Jackson is $2,099, but I can already tell you Shenandoah Music wants to sell products. So if you call them, I'm sure that they will work you a deal on it. And I will vouch for this guitar, guys. If anyone wants a Jackson USA and you're worried about spending that kind of money and getting a quality instrument, everyone knows every guitar is a little different. Okay, let me, hold on. I don't like to talk without you guys being able to see me. Every guitar is different. I don't care if Paul Reed Smith himself is out there on the floor doing fretwork. I don't care if the world's best luthier is out there. He's going to make a guitar one day that's just past awesome. But one day he's going to make a guitar. Now we're talking super skilled people. He's going to make a guitar that is Gibson Murphy Lab perfect. And some people are like, "Oh, that's great." Well, compared to the world's best, that's probably not too good. For him, that's a bad day, if that makes sense. This Jackson right here plays nice, guys. So if you guys want this Jackson, just give Shenandoah Music a call, It's a beautiful guitar. The fretwork is top notch. I did find one fret, and I started working on the true video, not the live video, and I cannot find that one little fret that I found that had a little bit of a rock. It, I think it's that minute. The only thing, when you put the fret rocker crossways on the fret dressing, the secondary chamfer, there's one spot that has just it's a crazy, it's nice. The fretwork on this guitar, I mean, if I do fretwork like this, I am proud of it. And that's no lie, guys. I would be proud to put my name on the fretwork on this guitar. It's well done. It's a well done guitar. It got a multi-piece neck with carbon fiber rods. Jackson knocked, in my opinion, for a USA made guitar at $2,000 with Seymour Duncan pickups, a real, not a computer circuit board switch, a real switch. I mean a real switch. Full size pots, CTS pots, a real switch, a 1500 tremolo bridge, stainless steel hardware, Goto locking tuners, not cheapies, Goto guys, nice locking tuners, and a high gloss finish, which takes longer. Just a sweet instrument. If you bought this guitar with those specs at Kiesel, it'd be $3,000. Kiesel, phenomenal finish guitar, but I'm just saying that Kiesel's USA. If you bought any other, I can't think of a USA made guitar at $2,100 that you're going to get what this Jackson has. I hope Jackson can hold that price point, because if they do and word gets out on these new USA just standard guitars, they should sell the snot out of that. Anyone looking at a USA Schecter, it's $3-4 grand. You know, it's $3,500. Not their custom shop, just Schecter USA. They start at like $2,800. If you all know another Schecter USA under $2,800, I'll be curious to see it. I haven't seen one. They nailed the price point. Now, how long it stays there, I don't know, guys. But in my opinion, USA made guitar, that's a heck of a deal. Anyway, back to what Linnell wanted it. She has since changed her mind, and she is looking at this guitar right here. This is a unique little monster. This is a nice guitar. Seymour Duncan pickups. Now this Jackson is one of the Chinese Jackson. It's made in China. That doesn't mean that it's bad. China can make a good guitar. Korea can make a good guitar. Indonesia can make a good guitar. India can make a good guitar. We're past the point of saying, oh, it's China, oh, it's India, oh, it's Korea. If a company's willing to pay the manufacturer to make it, they can build it, and they can build nice guitars. So this guitar is a neck through. It is not like the Jackson that I ordered with a long tenon. This is a true neck through. It's spec'd as a neck through. So that means this piece of wood that the neck goes all the way through the body. It is a true neck through guitar. She digs the crackle finish, and it is crackled on the back. So my question is, with the clear coat and stuff, I'm just wondering, can you feel the crackle on the back of the neck?
Devastator said, let's see it again, Avery.
See the what?
He said, let's see it again.
See it again?
Yeah, I guess he's talking about the crackle.
The red one?
No, the one you have.
Oh yeah, I've got it. I've got it up right now. YouTube's a little behind. So that's the back of the headstock, and we can see the crackle on the back of the neck. Look at that neck joint right there, where the neck joint comes down around the body. Look at that neck joint. That's awesome. So they got this thing on sale. It's $200 price drop. And this is this is an extremely reasonable weight too. 7 pounds 4 ounces.
You can't see it.
You can't see it?
All you see is you talking.
Oh, well, hold on. See, guys, that's why she said that. Sorry. All right, now we got the right screen. The squirrel got it right this time. All right, here's the neck going into the body. This is a true neck through guitar. That's how they have it listed. The one that I ordered is what they call long tenon joint, but they've done the exact same detail here. They've carved it in, but it's not a true neck through, the one that I've ordered. So you can see the crackle on the back of the neck. Like I said, I'm thinking, how much prep and sand work would it take to create a crackle finish, sand it out, clear coat it, sand through the clear, and get that neck to where it's perfectly smooth. Get it to where there's no hint of that crackle, the variation in the finish. That would be my question. And would it be sticky? Because if you look at this, if you look at the picture, you can see the sheen on the back of the neck. That's from the lights from them in the guitar gallery. So that's a high gloss finish on that neck. But it is a sharp looking guitar. So right now Linnell has gas for this one. It's a dual humbucker. Got the Floyd Rose 1000 on it. It's a sharp guitar. Really sharp guitar. That's the Jackson. Even has the crackle finish on the headstock. And I actually like these little teeny weeny shark teeth on it. It does have the teeny weeny shark teeth. And it's got the reverse shark tooth on the 12th. 2 of them. I kind of dig that.
Steve wants to know if you can drop a link to that.
I should be able to drop a link to it. The question of it is, can I? Copy. Let me see if I can do that, guys. Paste. And there's a link to that guitar at Sweetwater. And I have no affiliation whatsoever with Sweetwater, so just keep that in mind, guys. I like Sweetwater, like I've said, I think Sweetwater's a pretty good place. And I got other news, but I'm going to wait on that news because well, I've got a guitar on order that's not supposed to be here until late January, early February. But I just ordered a guitar. Did you hear the from the kitchen?
Yeah, you did that because I decided not to get that Jackson.
Oh! Yeah, well, the Jackson is cheaper. Let me go back. Let's go back to display screen. And let me show you guys. I don't want to show you the one that they have. So we're going to go to my account. We'll go to my order history. So hopefully you all won't get any special ideas or anything. So this is the guitar that I just ordered. I showed this last week on the other stream. And I called and talked to them, what was it, last night?
Yeah.
I called and talked to them last night. And everyone knows that my AG08 and the things that I purchased to start doing this live stream just got paid off. So, me and my little squirrel brain, I like to give Sweetwater Music money every month. So next month was going to be the first month without a payment going to Sweetwater. Well, now I'm indebted to Sweetwater again. But this is an S model. This body is super thin. It's about a 1/2 inch thick here on the sides, and it gets thick towards the center. Now this particular S model is a little thicker in the center due to the bridge. So the fixed tail S models are about 3/8 of an inch thinner in the center than this model. So it does flare out a little bit more in the center. And this is a nice guitar. And again, if you look at these, this is the one that I got right here, where my little cursor is moving. Look at this one. And look at this one. The one I ordered is white, 6 pounds and 7 ounces. One, I think it has the prettiest color and the prettiest top. And it's also 6 pounds and 7 ounces with a tremolo. I was looking at this guitar for like 3 weeks. And for whatever reason, it said, I think 4 people had this thing in their cart. And each day I'd pull it up going, oh, it's still there. It's still there. No one's pulled the trigger on it yet. It's still there. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to call them and I'm going to ask them to hold it for me. And it is technically on hold until Monday. So, of course, I don't want to damage my relationship with them. So on Monday, I have to give them a retainer and then they'll ship it. But they are holding it for me until Monday, solely because of payday and how things work here at the house with bills and stuff. But I called, and this is why I say build a relationship. I have a relationship with Shenandoah Music, and I have a relationship with Sweetwater. Now, bad news. Shenandoah Music actually offered to sell me this guitar for $1,399. Now you're going, well, why did you buy it at Sweetwater at full price? Well, I bought it at Sweetwater because of where my mouse pointer is right now. They have 3 models. I get to look at the weight of the guitar, and I get to see the top. I'm sorry, this one is fugly. Excuse my French. That is fugly. What happened to the color on this guitar? It looks like an off-white. It looks like a white that got dirty. Now, I know every piece of wood's different, and this is a whitewash. So this one just doesn't look white. It doesn't. Here's the other one. Now, see, I went back into Sweetwater now. So it will not show the other guitar. If you all go to Sweetwater, it's not going to show the one I purchased. See now it's just down to 2 guitars. So I have to go back to order history. And then I have to click in my cart on my order history. See, you can see the difference right here. How white this one is in relation to this one and this one. That is why I paid an extra $100. Because I know it's light and I know the top looks pretty on it. And I have 35 days. If I get this guitar and I don't like it, I can return it. And here's proof of that, guys. Not that I'm saying order stuff from Sweetwater, play on it for a month and send it back, but you can. Look right here. Well, not that one. You get to see all the goodies I buy at Sweetwater. Now, this one technically says returned, okay? But it was never actually picked up. If you look right here, it says local pickup, Schecter Reaper 6. When we were up for Gear Fest, I played the guitar and I put money on it and I told him to hold it for me. I was going to think about it. And I actually went back later that night and canceled that purchase, because I ended up buying the Sun Valley Super Shutter. So this says returned, but it was never actually picked up. So that one doesn't count. Right here, Kramer Assault Plus in Bagel Burst. Okay? This guitar was returned. I saw a Bagel Burst and I loved it. I loved the color. When this guitar come, I just didn't like it. It looked beautiful, but there was something about this Kramer that I just did not like. So I called my Sweetwater guy and I said, look, it's a beautiful guitar. He goes, what's wrong? I said, it's a beautiful guitar. He goes, is it scratched? No, it's not scratched, not broke. I said, it just, there's something about it I just don't like. I don't like this guitar. And he said, no problem, send it back. I sent it back. No fuss, no muss. Here's where it was shipped. So this will tell you, Devastator, when your guitar came, because when this one was returned, I went right to Washington Music and bought the one that you're getting. And I played that one. And I knew it was a good guitar. And I'm like, this one's good. That's what I'm saying. Every guitar is different. This Kramer Assault, I'm not saying it played bad. It didn't play bad. It just didn't have what some people call the magic. It didn't have the magic. So when I went to Washington Guitar Center, I picked up that other one that I got. It just had it. It made you want to play it. It's like this Jackson to my right. This, what's this, Rocket Red? That thing's got magic. It makes it, you want to play it. You want to play it hard. You want to play it fast. It's far more of a guitar than I can play. And that's what that other Kramer did. So I picked it up. So on purchasing this guitar, let's go back to page 1. Page 1. So if this guitar comes and I don't like it, I can return it. At Shenandoah Music, I would feel bad. Now, like I said, they offered me the guitar for $1,399. But they're going to get whatever their vendor sends to them. I can't go, okay, guys, I want 6 pounds, between 6.5 pounds and 7 pounds. And it's got to be one of the top's got to be white on it. It can't have this yellow white or this brown white. It's got to look white, like a whitewash. They're going to get whatever they get. It could be pretty. It could be beautiful, but then heavy. It could be light, but then have a yellow tint. Call me shallow, but what's the first thing you see when you walk into a guitar center or a guitar place? You look at a guitar and it just strikes you like, wow, that's a beautiful guitar. Wow, that's awesome looking. It's the look that gets you first. And I know that's being shallow because I always tell people, go ahead and play everything. You might be surprised. You might pick up the fuggliest guitar they have and it just plays like $1 million. I'm being shallow. I wanted a certain look. This is the most expensive guitar that I've purchased to date. Okay. Granted, I've ordered a Jackson, but I haven't technically, that hasn't happened yet. So this one's about $300 more than I've paid for any other instrument. I wanted to make sure that it had a pretty top on it. And I bought this one solely because of what Linnell's guitar this weekend is the exact same guitar in Dragon Burst without a tremolo. And it has Ibanez pickups. That guitar plays awesome. If this guitar plays anything like that with a tremolo on it, I should be in hoggy heaven. Fingers crossed. But we should have another guitar to look at next Thursday. So it's going to be a guitar marathon on this channel for about the next 2 or 3 months, guys. We've got a ton of guitars to go through. And we're going to start hitting them out every Thursday. I know I said I was going to do a live review. Thursday night will become guitar review night from now on. That's what we're doing. Guitar review night every Thursday. We're going to review a guitar, at least for the next 3 months. So I've got enough guitars to review for the next 3 months every Thursday night. So we're going to make it happen. Next, we just went over the Ibanez PM20. Now, we don't go anywhere, Jupe. you're on the topic list tonight, Mr. Jupe. Next is Nicholas. I want to get to Nicholas. Let's get to Nicholas. So, Nicholas, we need to go back to display screen. And I want to show you Nicholas's Vox pedal here. Check this thing out, guys. That is awesome. That is original. He bought it new. Brand new. I would kill for something like that. Those old potentiometers and the way those things worked, they just had a sound. So that's the one picture, and here's the bottom of it. You could see there's the made in Italy, not China, not Korea, not Vox Italy. You know, people talk about Marshall in, early 70s. Well, that was the Marshall, That's when Marshall made Marshall. It was Marshall doing it, The guy that took Fender amps and modified them. Modified all kinds of different amps. And made the Marshall. Vox. Italian made. That is just freaking awesome. He paid $30 brand new for it. I love when people send us pictures. I mean, it's sharing on the channel. So anytime you guys want to send pictures to me on Teams, it was also Skype. The lettering it's the first letter of everything I'm about ready to say. Moderately good pilot that will eventually get better. I don't know if Linnell can type that into the stream just in letter content. But that's how you find me on Teams. And you might have to put those letters in and then type Healy Freak afterward. But other people in the chat have found me, and they can chime in on how they found me on there. I don't know if I can do a direct link to Teams on that for that or not. I don't know how the thing would actually work. But you can send photos. That's what it's about. We share all kinds of photos and stuff on here. Guitars. When you get gas and you buy the new guitar, send me a photo of it. We'll get it on the live stream. But this is Vox, Nicholas's Vox. Awesome. Love to have that thing. Last thing on my cheat list, guys, and then we'll move on to open topics. Oh, Birdman's email. Yep. We got to add that to the list. So, second to last thing. I have something to show you guys. Is Jupe, I'm going to wait. Wait, you guys didn't see anything. Is Jupe in the chat?
Yeah, he's in there.
Okay, hold on. I'm waiting. Yep. Yeah, I just saw it. He says Jerry with an exclamation mark. Okay. I have something to show Mr. Jupe. And we have something really pretty right here. And I'm going back to my other screen. This is Jupe's guitar neck. And I'm holding it like this because right here, guys, if you go back and watch the video that we just did on leveling the frets, there was a big, huge chip in this guitar right here. When I say a big, huge chip, there was a big, huge chip in this guitar neck. Now, I'm going to try to get it in the light. Come on, shine. Look, right there. Look at the sheen on the end of that guitar neck. Look at that. Look at how pretty that repair is. You guys see that repair? You see a chip? We're going to get it in close. Right there, boy. You can see the shine. Look at the shine on that. Right on the end. There was a big, huge chip right on the end of the headstock. Look at the nice sanding work. Oh, that's called, I'm pretty good at what I do, Jupe. Not tooting my own horn, but I'm pretty good. If it's a piece of wood, I can fix it. There's Jupe's side. Now, let's get into this stupid thin neck. Everyone knows the Ibanez Wizard neck is thin. Well, guess what, Jupe? You now have a thinner neck. That's right, thinner than a Wizard. Right here, this neck measures 18.25 millimeters, which is exactly 0.5 millimeters thinner than the thinnest Ibanez neck ever created, unless someone accidentally sanded a little more. But they're supposed to be 18.75 to 19.25 on the thin Wizard. Down here, you are exactly at 19.9 millimeters at the 12th. And it stays just a little bit of a ridge right here. And we have reshaped his heel. The heel now has been reshaped. Notice that this is not consistent anymore. This line, there you go, now it's showing it, because I got the sheen. This line right here has been shaped to the guitar profile. There is 1/32 of an inch of this flat showing past the guitar body. So this ramp has been pushed this way 3/16 of an inch, almost a quarter of an inch. So this whole surface has been reworked, especially on this side right here. Because, this side, sorry. This side was way up here, basically where my finger is. So now, see how much slope there is on this side now to increase access? And he had a really nasty gouge in the back of the neck right there. And here's his new edge that's been broken. There's a chamfer. You can see this edge right here has been chamfered to relieve that edge. Right there it breaks. You can see the chamfer. And I did not go crazy on the chamfer. It's just enough to where that's not a sharp edge. It has been relieved and broken. And we can also see the really super shiny frets with the double chamfer. There you go. Look at them half moons. Right there, you can see the half moons. Double chamfered frets. And I did leave his volute, but I have thinned the volute out. It was a little more pronounced. And I've cut this back in just a little bit more here. Just to ease the volute a little bit. Gives it more room for your thumb back here. So if you look at where my finger is, look at the shape to my thumb. I tried to make it match your arc as you're playing. See how that's done? I tried to match my thumb arc to the back of the volute playing basic. So it's nice and comfy. And it's thin all the way up to the center of that fret before it starts to move. So right here, we're right at like 19. It's like 18. Yeah, that's right where it starts to feather up. So there's Jupe's modified guitar, and again with the bad chip, and you can see how shiny it is right where the chip used to be. No more chip. Refinished and beautiful. And I still got to polish it. So back in here, there are some fine scratches from years of playing, but it will look as shiny as the end when I'm done. So once I repolish this out, I'll get the fine scratches and stuff that are in the headstock right here. We'll get it back to being 100%. So now I am going to go to my email, and we're going to check out what Birdman sent us. Oh, it helps to type in the right thing. Give me a second, guys. Well, I've got an invitation to check out a new musical instrument. That will not go well, because when I say that I keep the royalties and the rights to my production, I usually don't hear from them again. But we have two companies that have sent us things. Oh, and Guitar Tricks. If you guys have heard of Guitar Tricks online, they have really been pushing me to promote those guys. The dividends do seem to be decent, but I don't like to. I don't know who they are, if that makes sense. Did he say that he was sending me guitar pictures?
Who?
Birdman.
Yeah, you got an email. I think so. It's of what is it? It's a guitar that he got.
It's got to be this one. This is a cool looking guitar, Mr. Birdman.
I think he said he won it for, I forget.
Okay, let's go to display screen. And here is the guitar. I'm going to zoom in on the headstock here. It looks like an Ibanez Geo. I didn't know Ibanez made a double cut like that. That's a cool looking guitar with this nice chamfer. I like that. 3-on-3 headstock. Looks, the string pull on this looks good too, Birdman. When you see the pull come off like that and it's semi-straight, as long as this nut is cut well, that guitar will stay in good tune.
He said total price with shipping and taxes, said it was like $85. He won it on, I guess he bid on it.
Oh my gosh, $85? You stole that.
That's total with shipping and everything.
Wow. That's a nice looking guitar.
Ted's gotta go.
Oh, Ted, I didn't even know Ted was in the chat.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I was on a rant tonight. Ted, I swear, we're going to USPS this weekend, and we'll get you numbers on getting like I said, the telly's yours. It's just, I am acclimating to my new job, and my new job is, I am still acclimating to my new job. You can ask Lindell. When I come home, I'm either burnt out or I just don't want to talk about work. So hopefully things will get a little easier on me. But we're going to go to UPS this weekend. We'll get some numbers to you on shipping. Thanks for being patient, man. I got a lot on my plate, if that makes sense. I try to keep everybody happy. So, but the guitar is yours. Don't worry about it.
Berman said those pictures are quote-unquote shop pics taken by the Goodwill auction place.
So back here on the back of the headstock, there's no volute right here. We do see that there's a shiplap joint right here, which that's typical for Ibanez. And you can see right here, this is the cut that we were just talking about on Jupe's guitar. This is pretty standard. This is where the flat spot, where my cursor is moving, that's the flat spot in the neck. This ramp follows my cursor.
Birdman says, what era would you say that's from?
I am not an Ibanez guy, Birdman. I missed evidently a lot of great guitars from this company. I played Ibanez in the early 80s. and just now started playing Ibanez again.
Kurt says it looks like an older Ibanez GSZ 120.
It can't be too old because it's an Ibanez Geo. So, well, I guess I'm showing my age. If you're 20 years old and they've been making the Geo for 18, I guess that would be an old guitar to them. But for me, it's not a 90s, I wouldn't think. It's got to be a 2000 or newer. And that's 25. If you got a 2000, that's 25 years old. So it's, I guess that's an old guitar. But that's a sharp looking guitar. I like that. I like the look. I like this right here, how they've rolled the body and put this contour in it. And believe it or not, I like actually playing on this bridge. One thing I do like about the Gibson is this style bridge. It's easy to play. It's easy to mute. I like that bridge. And it's got a binding on the neck. That's a sharp looking guitar. I'm pretty sure Jerry has done some shopping on Goodwill. I think he sent me a link to a PV amp a while back. I think that was at Goodwill.
Bergman says it sounds killer.
Jerry can chime in. I think the link that he sent me on that PV was Goodwill as well. I might have to start checking out the Goodwill stuff. $80 for that? Pfft. I mean, how could you complain? Huh?
That was shipping and everything.
Oh, that's shipping and everything.
He said he won it for like $40 or $50.
Yeah, you didn't get hurt on that at all. Put some strings on it and rock out. That's a good purchase.
Jerry said he sure did.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that purchase whatsoever.
Well, I mean, I think Jerry's agreeing that he's the one that told you about the PV on the Goodwill site.
Yeah, I thought it was Jerry that sent me the link. Yeah, he said sure did. So that guys, guess what? You know what that means? We have completed our list of topics for tonight. And that's all in time for the Jerry break. And that's what we're calling it from now on. It's the Jerry break. So we're going to take a 5-minute recess. I'm going to get some hot cocoa, and that's Devastator's cue right there. And before I don't think about it, Devastator, you need to PM me tomorrow or Saturday, one of the two. We got to chat about the bridge on the other guitar, because getting ready to start working on bridges, I think it goes to your nephew that we're building the bridge for. So, yeah, so Linnell's got that taken care of. So get a hold of me on that. But we're going to take a 5-minute recess, guys. And I'm going to get a cup of hot cocoa, and we'll be right back. Okay, guys. I don't have my hot cocoa yet, but I did get it started, and I hit the little boy's room, so pretty good break. So I think Birdman wanted to talk about neck replacement. Is that correct?
Neck hole placement.
Whole neck replacement?
Neck hole placement.
Neck hole placement. You're going to have to specify more. Are you talking about where to drill for your bolts or replacing the actual neck itself? What you want to watch for if you're talking about drilling, you want to come back off this shoulder. You don't want to drill near this end because it'll crack and split the neck. So you want to be wise of that. And I tell people at bare minimum from the back to the center of the bore, 11 millimeters. And that's bare minimum. And you better pre-drill to the proper diameter or it's going to split. If you go 15 millimeters back from here, you're less likely to crack the neck. But when I do it, I try to be at least 15. I like 15 to 18 millimeters. It's not going to hurt anything moving it back like that. You're not gaining that much as far as the fulcrum point of this, moving these bolts back. As long as you have a nice, see how they extended the tenon on this neck? They've done that to make it a little more stable. It's actually quite smart. But if you look at this corner in relation to that hole, they're at about 11, 12 millimeters. If that's what you're talking about.
He said, I think you mentioned filling with epoxy.
Yes. Before you rebore and run dowels in that neck, that's going to do nothing but weaken it, okay? Because you're removing more neck material. So if I was going to do a repair on a neck and I knew the screw was at least 5 millimeters away from the existing holes, I would fill the other holes in with a hard base epoxy. Okay? There's two different grades of epoxy. There's an epoxy that it hardens, but it doesn't get like hard, if that makes sense. You want to look at the hardness rating of the epoxy that you use, and you want it more like a finishing epoxy like they use on epoxy tables. That gets very, very hard. Fill it in with that. It's going to bond the fibers together. Yeah, it's stronger than the wood. You could actually drill right next to that as long as you pre-drill properly. Like let's say this is your existing hole. Pretend it's round. You fill this in with epoxy, you could drill right here, your new hole. 50% epoxy, 50% on the neck. It's going to hold as long as you use a true good epoxy, something that gets hard, that doesn't stay like a rubbery product. And that's going to be something that you're going to have to find. I know protective coatings. It's PC. If you go on the internet and look up protective coatings, they make some very nice epoxies. They also make some wood stabilizers. So when I say wood stabilizers, let's say you're wanting to do a Telecaster body and you want to do pine like they did. The early Telecaster bodies were pine. Well, pine's a very soft wood. So if you want your screws to grab or it not to dent, you can look at protective coatings as a chemical. And it's designed for wood rot. Okay? It's almost like water. You saturate the rot or the pine, okay, in this chemical, and it literally hardens the wood. It fills in the air gaps. It's almost like it's like a CA glue, but it's not CA glue. It's designed to wick into the wood, okay, and it'll harden that wood. Protective coatings make some pretty good wood products. But look at their epoxies, and it'll say medium, light. It'll give you their rating and their impact rating and hardness rating. And then you can buy just little injection tube of it. It's going to be expensive, like a little tube. It comes in 2 cylinders, okay? And they do sell a special gun with 2 pistons. You don't need the gun. Just when you get it, cut the top and use something to push each cylinder and get the equal amount in each cylinder and just manually mix it. The gun will be $100 just for the little gun. You don't need it. Just they might even make it in separate containers. It's been a while since I've ordered from Protective Coatings, but they're some of the best epoxies out there. If you don't get it from them, look up a company called Chemcraft. They make some really good industrial finishes, epoxies, wood hardeners. So that'll give you a place to go. And even if you don't, the internet's good. When you type in something, 50,000 other listings will come up, and that'll point you in the right direction for a good epoxy. Don't go to Home Depot and buy the epoxy like the DAP and the Tight Bond and Gorilla. Those are more construction-based epoxies, and they have elasticity to them, if that makes sense. That you don't want the elasticity, you want the strength and hardness, since you're filling holes in the neck. So try that. That's how I would repair it. I would never drill it, plug it, because your plug is going to be 10 times weaker than the epoxy. One, even if you do put end grain straight in, you're threading into end grain. The grain goes this way. So then if you do a flush plug, okay, with the grain going the same direction, it's going to want to split that little plug that you're putting in it because there's not enough grain to make it solid. So either way, you're killing yourself by plugging it, if that makes sense. Is in setup drilling. Yeah, when you go to drill that, the only thing I would do with the factory holes is I would just get it clean right here. Like if I was going to fill these holes, I wouldn't re-drill them. I've just cleaned the bottom of this neck and made it flat, okay? I would blow these holes out, make sure there's no debris down in the holes, and I would wick the epoxy down in the hole. The thinner the epoxy, the better chance you have of filling that hole up. The thicker the epoxy, you might think it's full and there's an air gap down in below. That's the trick. It's making sure there's no air in there. So I would use a thinner version.
Jupe says, what's the chance that wings glued onto a neck through would split off?
Well, there's always a possibility, Jupe. All neck throughs, it's just you got the same possibility when you're talking a multi-piece neck. All these little pieces of wood are glued together. If a machine is applying the glue, you're probably a little better off. But there's also the chance of something contaminated the wood. You know, you'll hear in finishing the term fisheye. Okay, and what a fisheye is the name of it, the term tells you. You'll see it looks like a little fisheye in the finish. Okay, it's not a knot. Like when I go to redo the finish on the back of this, okay, we're doing a minimum finish because you say you like the wood feel. But let's pretend for a second that I was going to spray a catalyzed lacquer or a nitro or something like that on it, and I get this look. It looks like a little fisheye right here. That's contamination, okay, in the finish. Whether it's from a wax or in some tooling when they're running the material through it, they spray the saws with what's called dry coat. And that allows the wood to slip across the machine and reduce the friction. The drawback is a lot of silicone-based friction-free things that they use on CNC machines, table saws, auto feeders, shapers. It gets in the wood. And if you don't sand all that out or it penetrates, when you go to finish it, it'll cause these little fish eyes. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I know that I was on the fisheye comment. But hopefully you understand where I was going with that, because I don't even remember what the original question was.
It was about wings splitting off.
Oh, wings splitting off. So if you get contaminant in the wood, whether it's from dry coat or a silicone or something that they used on the machines. Let's say it's a Monday, and that weekend they went through and they cleaned all the tops of the machines because the machines get dirty. So you go in there, you clean the tops, you clean the rollers on the power feeders. Some of that stuff is still on the rollers, and that piece of wood goes through there and it contaminates. Now the wood doesn't soak into the end grain. Wood glue itself is not strong. It really isn't. If you take Tight Bond glue, Tight Bond's a good glue. Okay, Tight Bond makes a lot of commercial glues. If I pour a little bit on a piece of wax paper and make it thin, when that dries, I can take that glue and it breaks. It's brittle. It's really brittle. But if I take that glue and I put it on two pieces of wood, okay, let's say open grain in wood, and I work that glue into the grain of the wood, and let's say I put them together and I just move them back and forth, okay, and I put just a little clamp pressure on it. It might hold, okay, but if I put just the right amount of clamp pressure on it to where it doesn't squeeze the glue out of the joint, it pushes the glue further into the compound of the wood, that's a superior joint. Now you can over clamp it where they put too much pressure on it, and the only bond you have is whatever residual glue stays in the joint and the rest squeezes out. That can be what causes it. But in reality, you really shouldn't have a problem. Today's glues are extremely strong. So I wouldn't be concerned about a neck through, side wings popping off. A 7-piece guitar neck is a bunch of pieces glued together. It's very stable because you have multiple pieces of wood laminated together. All these different grains going this way and that way. If you look at, let's look at the end of this. Let me see what direction this is going. So if you look here, we can see the end of the grain. Okay? Some people claim if the grain's doing this, the other board below it should go like this. Okay? The growth rings on the end. And the reason for that is, if my growth ring is going this way, and I take a growth ring and I put it this way, this board wants to cup this way, the board on the bottom wants to cup that way. When you put the two together, they're fighting against one another. Let's say two pieces. This is your grain, this is your grain. When I put these together, this doesn't want to warp out because it has to warp this piece out that direction. Well, anytime you try to reverse concave something, it's extremely difficult. So this board with the grain going this way wants to bow like that, but it has to pull this grain in reverse. It makes it extremely tight. The drawback to that is when you alternate grain pattern, okay, one side of the board always looks prettier than the other, okay? Grain up, in my opinion, grain up, that's how Schechter's done it. Notice how the grain up, that's the prettier side of the board. When you look at it the other way, it has, I'm not saying it doesn't look pretty, but if you stagger your glue joints, when you go to stain it, you'll see the striping. You're going to see the variation in the grain. So a lot of people put all their grain going up. The growth ring will go up on every board. Yes, it looks prettier. Your grain is going to be more consistent, but it's more likely that your slab is going to bow because all your grain patterns are going that way in the slab, if that makes sense.
Birdman says, what do you think about the insert kit for a bolt-on neck?
Basically, all an insert is doing, when you put the insert in, it's downsized. So let's say you're using a 1/4-20 machine thread screw in America, or a 3mm, okay, with X thread pitch, 1.2, 1.5, whatever it is. When that screw goes into the insert at the bottom expands out a little bit. It's designed to do that. So it should have a cut like this, and it's actually bent in. So when you drive that in, these little spikes on the outside, it forces that insert to do this, okay? and when it goes in the hole. Now, when you put the screw in it, it forces that insert apart. And these little spikes are made like this. Okay? That's what the spike, it goes like that. So it allows it with these spikes like that to go this direction into the wood. But it won't go this way because that spike is sticking out like that. So on the side of the grain, that spike goes up and it catches. So that insert doesn't want to pull out. Plus, when the screw goes through it, it expands the bottom of the insert. It is stronger than a wood screw, which a coarse thread screw, because an insert screw is a machine screw. There's 3 or 4 times the surface area on a machine screw versus a wood screw. The more surface area you have creating that rotation, the more surface area gives it more strength. It would be the exact same principle if I glue a square this big. Okay, it might take, let's say, 1,000 pounds to pull it. If I double the surface area, let's say I got 2 packs, is it twice as strong? No. It's 3 or 4 times stronger. It compounds. It goes by a square. Whatever that ratio is, it's squared by that ratio. So it's not twice as strong. It might be 3 or 4 times stronger. So by using that machine screw, now you've got 5 or 6 times the surface area of that screw pulling on it. Plus now with the insert, you don't have to worry about just the thread of the screw wanting to pull out. Now you've got the insert in this hole spread out. So the whole interior section of that radius of that circle is pushed out, grabbing that bore. It's an extremely strong joint. But you have to have wood to wood contact. So that insert needs to be recessed in this wood just a little bit. Even 1/1000th of an inch is all you need, okay? As long as it's a hard wood. The softer the wood, there's wood compression, so you have to take wood compression into effect. So if you're using a softer wood, like in the body, okay, because that's where your insert goes, you got to figure what's called crush. So if you're below the wood surface a 32nd of an inch, you should be fine. Just make sure that insert is below. You don't want this neck going down. Let's pretend this is the insert. You don't want this neck hitting the insert. You want the neck to hit the body of the guitar. Bam! And the insert is below the flat surface of the body. That way the neck comes down, hits the body, and the screws are pulling that neck to the body. That screw should also be free floating in the body. Okay? You should be able to take that screw and pretty much do this in the body. If it does thread, it should thread when you do it, but you should be able to pull it out straight without turning it. But yet put it in the hole and you can thread it in. But yet be able to pull it out. That's the perfect amount of bore for that machine screw. That way it sucks that body to the neck. The more contact you have here, the more resonant it's going to be. Now that's something I forgot. If you look at this neck, this thickness here is thinner here. Yeah. It's thinner here than it is here. When I removed Jupe's neck, there was a shim right back here. I gauged that shim, okay? I looked at the thickness of the shim, and I've removed that thickness off the heel on this side of this neck. So the neck was put in a fixture, tilted, and I machined this to a new radius, or not radius, to a new angle. So this is not on the same, it's not perpendicular to the neck fretboard anymore. Now I do not need to use a shim. If I do need to use a shim, it's going to be very, but I shouldn't. It's a Floyd Rose tremolo. They're quite forgiving, but there was a shim in here. So now when this neck goes down in the neck pocket, it's been machined to make that neck kick down and give the neck negative rake angle in the guitar. Now, Schecter, being this is a production guitar, they're not going to worry about that, if that makes sense. But I saw that there was a shim, so I mic'd it, and that amount of material has been removed off this neck. So the first time you put the guitar together, put it together, shim it, see where you need to be, and then decide whether or not you want to attempt to sand this. Now, I have a Festool sander, and I have what's called a slide rig for my router. Unless you have something that can lock this down, don't sit there with a palm sander and think you're going to palm sand this flat. I don't care, even my 150 Festool with the hardest pad that I have, I would never take a palm sander and just and try to sand this. You're going to mess it up. The only thing that sander does is it's just going to clean the step over marks from the router. When I put this thing in and I bridge across and I come across with the router to clean this up, if that makes sense. Don't depend on your orbital sander to do that. On this neck, like the radius is smooth. And you're gonna sit there and you're gonna go, well, I can do that with a soft pad. The more that pad moves and deforms around this neck, the more you're gonna feel these step overs as you sand it. The more rigid that pad is, and you roll the neck consistently as you run the machine back and forth, and you move this neck, the smoother this radius is going to become. If that pad deflects, it does not stay flat and true. So the neck will have waves in it. That's why I don't even know if I'm going to post a video on this. I'm not saying it's proprietary. Every company has proprietary things that they do. YouTube is a great place, guys. And I don't want to post something that someone's going to go grab their DeWalt sander and start working on their guitar neck and then go, well, my guitar neck's doing this. Very few people have Festool or a router with a sled that they can do this kind of work. If you have that, sure. But you have to, it's not all about the tooling. Sometimes it's just about experience and how many times you've made mistakes. And believe me, guys, I've make a lot of mistakes. But every mistake I make, I try to learn from those mistakes. And I go, wow, why'd that neck slip out of my jig? Oh, that's right. I cheated. I only put 2 clamps on it. I thought it would hold because I was only going to take a little off. So I don't need to spend that much. Every time I try to cut a corner or go, well, I don't necessarily have to do that because I'm only taking a 32nd off. That's when I fail. And when you fail and you're working on a customer's neck and you have to fix it, that's hard to do. So I'm on the fence on posting the video on doing the seat cut and fixing the chip. I might do what's called a short on it. I just don't, there's certain things, guys, I want to keep to myself, if that makes sense. Stuff that I've learned over the years. Woodworkers kind of know what I'm talking about, if that makes sense. I've never said that before, but at the same time, I don't want someone looking at it going, wow, I can do that. Sometimes I see people do things and I'm like, wow, that looks so simple. And then I go and do it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not simple. This is quite difficult. Someone that's really good at their trade, whatever that is, whether it's working on a car, working on guitars, building houses, hanging sheetrock, painting, whatever it is, if that person is good at it, they make it look easy. That's why they're good at it. They simplify it and make it look easy. But I'm on the fence on posting the video. But hopefully that explains what we were talking about, guys. And you guys post. If you guys want a short on it, I did record it all. So maybe we can just do a short on it. If you guys are curious on some of the steps on reshaping necks. And again, I completely lost my train of thought, what we were actually talking about. All the inserts, yeah. So your neck angle, Birdman, is very important in your guitar. It does make the guitar play very different. A negative rake angle, just so everyone's on the same page, a negative rake angle means this part of the neck is that way to the guitar body. If this plane is completely straight, a negative rake angle means this is lower. A positive rake angle means the guitar neck is sitting this way in the guitar. I actually like a little negative rake in my necks on the set, but there's a tremendous amount of guitars out on the market where the body plane to the neck plane is zero. They are perpendicular. Okay, Gibson is probably the most rake angle that I can think of off the top of my head. Gibson uses a lot of rake angle on their guitars, and that's because of the arch body and the ABR type bridge that they're using. So they really kick their necks back on the guitar. I think it's a little too much, but it plays right for a Gibson, if that makes sense. Devastator says, it's okay, you can keep your secrets. I'm not, it's just certain things, guys. You can't give everything away. I got to have something to have the carrot out for next year, if you know what I mean. Maybe the next video we'll go over in a little more detail, and I'll have more time. But we're doing so much work on this guitar, and Jupe has been super patient. I just didn't want to keep. At some point, Jupe's got to get his guitar back. And we still have a custom bridge to make for it. We still have a pickup to wire in it. And we still have some polishing work to do on the body and the neck from the chip repair on the headstock. So, and then we have to reassemble it. I got to do a setup, intonation, and then there's still a tremendous amount of work. And it's taking some time to do, because I'm videotaping it. So if I do not break it down into a 2-hour video, that'll save me 40 hours. So basically, a 2-hour video takes me about 30 to 40 hours to process. Because if you guys watched the last video, I really tried so hard to get camera angles to where you could see how I was using the tooling to dress the frets, polishing the frets. I have no issues with that whatsoever. So maybe next year we can do a custom guitar, and I can break in, maybe skate a little bit on the fretwork and get more into the woodworking side. You know, how to scallop out your body, how to do the carving, how to do the neck, and be more woodworking oriented, if that makes sense. I think it was just a little too much on this one. When I used to RC drag race a lot, people wondered how I got a good light. I didn't tell them everything. Yeah, exactly. Birdman, I did the whole RC thing too. I have a Mugen downstairs, if you're familiar with Mugen. I have a Losi. I have a Team Associated. What else do I have? And an RC four-wheel drive downstairs. I think that's it. Oh, and an Axial. And then, of course, helicopters. I have 3 Aligns, 1 Goblin, 1 X3 Galley, and 2 Agiles, and 1 Align. That's pretty much all my RC stuff.
Jim said, no hurry, Avery, you're a busy guy, and I already knew that before I sent it to you.
Thank you, Mr. Jupe. You'll be very happy with it when it's done. Trust me, buddy. So what's next on the topic, guys?
What do you got on your paper?
I am done with the paper, honey.
Oh. You talked about Geico?
Did I talk about which one?
Geico?
You gotta talk louder.
Your truck?
Oh, okay. Now that we talked about all the happy things, I have a gripe. And I want to know if you guys have ever heard of this. I hit, okay, you guys are going to laugh. I'm driving to work. Just driving. And I see this turkey vulture on the side of the road. And I'm like, okay, this is a turkey vulture. They're eating their roadkill. No big deal. I get about 15, 20 foot away from this turkey vulture, and guess what he decides to do? He decides he's going to do a kamikaze run into my truck. He takes off, going this way, and here comes my truck, and I hit this turkey vulture at about 45, 50 miles an hour in front of my truck. Well, it didn't turn out too well for the turkey vulture, and it didn't turn out too well for my truck. Yeah. So, I call the insurance company, and the lady's like, you hit a what? I said, well, it was either a really big turkey or a really big turkey vulture. I said, either way, this thing had to be a, 25, 30-pound turkey. Big bird. I said, about 2 foot tall, on the side of the road. She goes, no. So the lady thought I was pulling her leg. She looks up, she goes, there is such a thing as a turkey vulture. And I'm like, yes, there's such thing as a turkey vulture. I said, I know, because my honey told me that's probably what I hit. When I told her, I said, well, it kind of looked like a buzzard, but it kind of looked like a turkey. She goes, well, it must be a turkey vulture. And I'm like, what? So I'd already been through that with her. Well, they said that I needed to take, pictures of the damage, that they would do an estimate on it. And I'm like, well, I need to take it to a body shop. Well, first you got to send us pictures of it. We'll do an estimate, and then you take it to your body shop of choice, and then we send our estimate and we work with your body shop. I'm like, okay. So Linnell goes out, takes pictures of the damage of my truck. We send it in. They send me an email back, and I'm looking at this number, and I'm like, there's no way you can fix that truck for that amount of money. And they're like, oh, well, once we take the bumper off, we might find, maybe a radiator, some clips are broke, maybe the crash bar underneath the bumper's damaged, maybe the hood's a little bent. We know we got to do some repainting. And I'm sitting there going, these guys, they're smoking crack or something. Excuse my French. So we took it to a certified Toyota place, and of course the guy chuckled when I told him the number. Well, he said, yeah, they always do this. We always got to fight with them, on what it's going to cost. So they had told me to send that in and that they would take care of it. Well, I get home today, and there's a thing from my insurance company here. Well, you won't believe what they sent me. They sent me a check in my name for the repairs on my truck based on their estimate, not the body shop's estimate, based on their estimate, which was 50% of what the body shop said, basically, to fix, almost 50% less, plus my deductible. Which I don't have a high deductible. I pay a little extra for a cheaper deductible. That's fine. But they send me a check in my name. I'm not a body shop. They didn't even wait for me to get the body shop information to them. When I called them, I'm like, why are you all sending me this check? And they were like, well, all you got to do is sign it when you take it and drop your vehicle off, and we'll make sure any difference, we'll take care of it. And I'm like, I bet your all's fraud rate is really high, because there's no this or that. It's written out to me. I can take this thing down to the bank and cash it and never fix the truck. I am pretty sure I have a lien on my truck. And I am pretty sure if the bank holder on my truck found out that I hit a big bird and the whole front of my truck is destroyed, and my insurance company sent me a check in my name and I didn't fix my truck, the whole point in the bank requiring you to have insurance is to make sure you fix your vehicle if it gets damaged or if it gets totaled. I'm thinking that's got to be illegal. I I'm not guys. I was using so many colorful metaphors on the phone with Geico. It was not pretty. I'm usually not a sailor, but when I saw this check for what they sent, less the deductible, I get it, deductible, but pretty much half their estimate based on what the Toyota Certified Crash Collision Center says it's going to cost to fix it. And the guy said, usually we run into more once we take it apart. It's plastic clips, plastic this. When they take it apart, there's going to be other stuff broke in there.
But he also told you that they don't like the way Geico does that either.
Yeah, and the guy at the insurance place, the collision place, said he don't like it either, but that's the way they do business. I'm glad that I waited this long to discuss it because I'm much more calm about it now than I was. So it looks like I'm going to take this check that's made out to me to the body shop, sign it over to them, and drop off my truck on money for repairs. But my question is, have you guys ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of your insurance company sending you a check to have your vehicle fixed in your name and saying, well, just take it wherever, give them the check, sign off on it, and we'll take care of the rest? I have never heard of that. If you guys have, then you can post in the comments section, but I know that this is not a car channel, it's not an insurance channel, but that just seems almost illegal to me.
Well, Steve said the insurance company is supposed to write the check to the bank and the owner.
Yeah, but the truck's not totaled. It's far from totaled, okay? But there is damage. Enough damage to where they got to do some paint work, replace the bumper, replace a bunch of stuff, the headlight. They got to fix the fender, fix the hood. I don't think the hood and the fender's not bad enough to replace. They're just warped. So I know they can fix that, but there's going to be broken clips. That aluminum bar in the front behind the bumper's probably damaged. I know the plastic little radiator thing that goes across the top, that's broke. The headlight's broke. I know the clips on the side of the bumper's broke because it's tilted forward. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Well, Malloy told you that they don't like it because of exactly what you said. People will take the check, cash it, and go buy whatever.
Yeah, Malloy says they do it because they're hoping you take the check and not fix your vehicle.
But they don't have to dish out money.
Because they know their estimate's low. So if you take the check and cash it, that's all they pay out. But if I take it to my service center and it's twice the cost, they're going to bill the insurance company for the rest. So he says they do it so how many people might take that check and just cash it and never fix the vehicle? Well, then, if anything ever said about it, well, we paid the claim. Here's the check. Here's the claim number. It's not our fault. There's got to be something illegal about that. When I opened up the thing and I saw the check, I'm like, what in the world is this?
Yeah, Kurt said insurance company is passing the buck, hoping you cash the check to wash their hands of spending more.
Exactly. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to be upset because I'm over it. But if you guys would have been a fly on the wall when I was in my kitchen talking to them, you were like, what in the world is wrong with Avery? Because I sounded like a sailor. It just blew my mind. It's the point in paying insurance is it's a service. You pay them money, they provide you a service. Well, I had to go and get the estimate. I had to do all this. Now I got to take the check to them. I'm doing all the legwork for the insurance company. To me, that's their job. It's their job to make sure the collision center gets paid, that all that's done, that the rental and all that's taken. I got to take care of all of it. They didn't do anything. Oh, here's your check. I guess, end of rant, if that makes sense. I still can't get it through my little squirrel brain that that is legal. Uh, oh my gosh. Yeah, the Geico rep was probably not happy. But I did qualify it. I said, dude, nothing I'm about to say is directly against you. Here comes me pissed. But I qualified it. Don't take this personally. And I think I started out, the company you work for sucks badly. And it just went off the rails after that. And I'm not that kind of person. But when I opened that thing up and I saw that check, and I've been driving around for 2.5 weeks this way with the front of my truck destroyed. Now, when I leave, the sun is just barely coming up. I only got one headlight. I'm like, I'm being patient, get the stuff to them. They're going to take care of it. I'm going to get a date to take it to the body shop, and then I get this check. Well, just take it to wherever. What do you mean take it wherever? Yeah.
Jude said at least you got a turkey out of it.
No, I didn't stop. I was so pissed. I knew it messed up the truck. This thing sounded like a hit a cinder block at 50 miles an hour. It was bam! And all I saw was just, I still got feathers in the front of the truck, stuck in the truck, all over the truck, in the plastic, and it's obvious I hit a big bird. I mean, I've been driving around now, 2 weeks now? And there's still feathers in the front of the truck. Okay? It's ridiculous. I mean, big feathers. It's rained, it's thunderstormed, we've had monstrous winds, and there's still evidence of this huge bird that I hit on the front of the truck. So, yeah, that's. I just wanted to get it off my chest. See if anyone else has had their auto insurance company send them a check for their auto collision. That's 50% of what the collision center said it was going to cost to fix it. It is just so funny. They hear that all the time. Yeah, Mac server. Anyway, guys, we've got Steve. I see some new faces. I know Max has been in here before, and I'm pretty sure Steve Gunner's been in here before, but I don't see them every week, so I definitely want to give them a shout out. And of course, we have Kurt Inscale, or it's just Kurt Studio. That's what he's going by now. Birdman, Devastator, of course, my funny honey, Pentagore, Jupe. Of course, I got Max. We had a bunch of other people in here earlier. I haven't seen Vox tonight, though, guys, so I'm not too sure what's going on with Vox. We got Jerry White was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still with us. If I miss, we did have Ted Talks Guitars. Of course, I got to get him a rate on getting that Telecaster to him. He's going to start throwing popcorn at the screen here eventually. We had Nicholas was in. I think Nicholas is probably still with us. And who else? Am I missing anybody, guys? If I am, I apologize. I'm scrolling up pretty quick. But I definitely like to give shout outs. But this is our first, I don't want to say structured, but I guess it was semi-structured because I had a little list of things that I wanted to go over. I'm trying to make the live stream more about what it is. It's music, and these were the things that happened this week. You know, whether it was just me hitting the bird or music stores closing. And again, you know, saying thanks to Shenandoah Music for letting me take this Kick Butt Jackson home. And if you haven't been in the chat, again, this beautiful Jackson. Actually, we're going to play this beautiful Jackson.
Devastator said might start throwing turkeys.
You know, I should have went back and got that darn turkey.
Steve said dealing with insurance companies for the birds.
Yeah, exactly. And dealing with the insurance company is for the birds. Now, there were some comments earlier.
Jerry Dover gotta go.
Oh, Jerry's got to go. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for coming in. Good seeing you all. Catch you guys next shot. Night, everybody. Hopefully see you Saturday night, Jerry.
Nicholas has to go.
Oh, we're losing Nicholas, too.
He said time for a shot. Night, everyone.
Night, Nicholas. Thank you so much for coming in.
Jerry will be on Saturday.
When we played this guitar, I think two people said that the Ibanez sounded a little better. Now, granted, we had been playing the Ibanez for about 4 or 5 weeks. Each stream, everyone knows, I try to get the best sound possible. So there's a bass, mid, and high on the little Yamaha that I use. So all I've done is I've cut the mid just a little bit more. I've increased the bass just a little bit on this guitar. I think a lot of people, and I'm bad for this too, we got to remember every guitar is not the same. They're different guitars. So learning how to use our amplifiers and setting up our EQ curve, and I'm not saying that this is the best EQ curve for this guitar, but it is better than the EQ setting that I used on it when I did the demo. That EQ curve was for the Ibanez. This guitar needed just a little bit of tweaking. And you can hear it. It has a better tone, just a little. We need to learn how to tweak our amps. I think it's a much better tone. With the mid cut, it's a little bit better on the harmonics. it plays effort. I was not trying to actually pick there. I can't get over a USA made guitar at this price point that plays this well. It I don't know how it translates to YouTube. It's an awesome guitar. If I was a rich person, I would definitely buy the guitar. But everyone knows we're bringing a new guitar home on Saturday when I return this one, and I just purchased the PWM 20. So we definitely cannot afford to also purchase this one. But it is an awesome freaking guitar. The strings, it's silky playing. Just an awesome freaking guitar. If anyone's on the fence on Jackson and their new USA stuff, like I've said before, if their products are going to be like this, odds are Jackson's going to knock it out of the park. And I hope the Jackson that I've just ordered is going to be like this one. Hopefully, I'm not returning this guitar, and my ordered guitar comes and it's the same price point. It really is. The guitar that I've ordered is the same price point as this guitar. This guitar is in my hands, and I know it's a good guitar. And I'm really struggling whether or not I should just cancel my custom order and just get this one. Or should I just return this one and roll the dice and get the one that has the pickup configuration that I want? Because the one I've ordered is a humbucker tilted and a single coil right here. It's not a center position and it's not a neck position. It's in between the neck and the center. And they've rotated it. That is my pickup configuration. My PV Vandenberg is made that way, and my PV Nitro, both are made that way. It is my favorite pickup configuration. This guitar does not have that, but it's mean sounding. In this fourth position, I can live with this. It it's just got a quack. It's not a quack like a tully quack, but and if you roll off on the volume, let's roll off on the volume a little bit. Listen to the breakup. So many mistakes in that, it's not even funny. I like this guitar. You know, I'm really going to struggle taking this one back, guys. It's just a sharp instrument. So if anyone wants it, it's at Shandor Music. That's who's going to have the guitar. As of right now, I'm keeping my order for my other Jackson. We're going to see how that works out. Hopefully, the one I've ordered is going to be as good as this one. I got my fingers crossed. Oh, let me see. What have I missed? Don't send this one back till you get the other one to make the choice. Steve, I wish I could. The drawback is my ordered Jackson won't be here until January or February. So I've got 6 or 7 more months to wait, and I've already been waiting about 7 months. So if I cancel, that just means I'm going to be out another year. Yeah. I'm kind of stuck, but like I said, the one I've ordered is more me, if that makes sense. I mean, most of my guitars are humbucker, but my favorite guitars, my Vandenberg and my Nitro, they're humbucker single, and they have that weird. Both pickups have a weird tilt. Actually, my Vandenberg, the pickups are tilted this way. They're very strange on the tilt. A GoFundMe page for Avery. I think our GoFundMe page should go towards what I know everyone's been thinking about it. We still need to pick a guitar, guys. We said it was going to be between $400 and $500. So we need to pick this guitar. Everyone needs to think about what guitar we're purchasing. And remember, we're doing a review, and you guys, the members of the channel that have donated money, you guys purchased this guitar, and you all have agreed when this guitar comes, we do the review and it's getting given away. So some lucky subscriber is getting the guitar for free. But we still need to pick that guitar. So I need everyone to kind of chip in and make a determination. What are we going to do? I mean, there's so many good guitars out there, guys. So you got Sire. Sire makes some awesome guitars. Jackson makes awesome guitars. Ibanez makes awesome guitars. LTD makes awesome guitars. I mean, really, Fender makes awesome guitars. Gibson. There's so many that I can't even think of. Solar. We've never had a Solar on the channel. We could do a Solar guitar. Solar's got some great $400 guitars. $385 to $450, guitars. Jet. Jet has, from what I understand, when you get into the $400 price bracket with Jet, nice guitar. Oh, and let's not forget Harley Benton, guys. They have a 6-string neck through. It might be over 500. It's like a 7-piece neck on that guitar with EMG retroactive pickups. That's a guitar I've been wanting to get on the channel for a long time. We might want to consider that Harley Benton. If you guys go to Reverb, they only have one model that's neck through. And it's a modern, it's like a super shredder. It does have a fixed bridge. There's no tremolo on this guitar. But it comes with the EMG retroactive pickups. I'm pretty sure it was a hip shot bridge. It's got some stupid specs. Neck through body. I want to say that guitar is coming in at like $530, $550. That might be a little past what we wanted to do on a giveaway guitar. But there's other Harley Bentons like the TE62, the Telly. I know they make a better version of that. I've heard good things about Harley Benton's Les Paul. Could do something like that. So, I don't know. It's not all about the guitar, bro. It's writing music. The guitar is nothing more than a tool. You're right. But that tool, you got to bond with that tool. And sometimes you bond with it and sometimes you don't. Like I have different tools. My Squire that I have up here. Oh, thanks, Jude. We're going to. I think those are the right buttons. The Squire I have up here, if I want to play more jazz or blues or like a blues funk, or I attempt to play that kind of stuff, that Squire Nashville Stratocaster, that thing is awesome. Okay, if I want to play more my style music, I'm going to pick up my Night Swan or this Ibanez over here or my Kramer Beretta, something like that. If I'm wanting to just do a little bit of everything, and I'm goofing off, I might pick up my hollow body. The tool will make you play differently, if that makes sense. And that's my search. Like I got an Epiphone Dot. I love my Epiphone Dot. Got really lucky. I was on the way to a wedding, went into a Guitar Center, and there it sat. It's an older Epiphone Dot, but it is a nice one, and I feel I got it cheap for what it is. Great playing guitar, love that thing, and it makes me play differently. Then I've got, like I said, my Strat, which I love. Now my Kramer Beretta, I want to wail on that, just like I do the Jackson here, but the Jackson has got a little something, if that makes sense. And the reason for that is I like my Kramer Berettas. I do. But I am more of an ebony fingerboard guy, and this Jackson has ebony. And I keep saying it doesn't make that much difference, ebony or rosewood, but my Vandenberg's ebony, and there's just something about the neck on that guitar. And I think the feel of the ebony, not necessarily the feel of the ebony under your fingers because you're riding on the frets, but the way the ebony on the side feels, if that makes sense. It has a different feel to it. And I play pretty aggressively, and this guitar reminds me of that Vandenberg with a little bit more meatier pickup, the Jackson. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a more familiar feel. That the Jackson is getting me closer to my Vandenberg. I don't know. But I think your tool, your instrument, your tool, that lends to what you're going to be doing, if that makes sense. That's why I've always wanted a really nice Gibson Les Paul with P90s in it. I like the P90 sound, and you put a P90 in a nice Les Paul, that's kind of hard to beat. A P90 Les Paul, that's an awesome instrument. I do have a Firefly, Les Paul with P90s, and it scratches that itch, if it makes sense. And I can buy 20 of those for the price of the Gibson. So I'll deal with it. So that's just want you guys to think about what guitar, and keep in mind it's a giveaway. So we got to pick a guitar that we're doing a review on. It's got to be something that the majority of everyone is curious about. Since it is a giveaway, we don't want to buy a POS, if that makes sense. We want to buy something that we feel is going to be a solid instrument because it is a giveaway to a subscriber. If it needs a little something, my job is to review the guitar and we'll fix whatever it needs. Let's say maybe it might have a high fret or, little tiny things. So we'll address those issues. I'll give it the Avery once over and then send it to the person that wins it. How about a P90 and a Squier Strat? They have a nice Squier, the phenomenal, what do they call it? I can never pronounce that word. Phenomenal from Paranormal. That's what it is. The Paranormal Strat by Squier, a double P90. I've looked at that guitar and it's made me want to pull the trigger a couple times on that guitar. I'm sure that sounds awesome too, because the issue, there's a couple issues I have with the Strat. Everyone knows I hit the volume knob on a Strat. Well, if you look at the paranormal word, I can't even speak tonight. Paranormal. There you go. If you look at where they put the volume knob on that one, they've moved it down. It's not where the typical Strat volume knob is. I could play that guitar and not hit the volume knob. So I think that one would be a good one for me. Hey, we got PTSD. Good to have you, man. I always try to point out new people when they post. So I think that one would be a good one to get too. But yeah, P90s just have it's not a humbucker. It's a smack you in the face single coil that has a lot of butt. And I love the way a single coil sounds. They just have, when you bend them, like when I switched the Jackson over to position 4, that's the neck inner coil. I like that thin sound. But at the same token, I want that extra push, and the P90 does that. The P90 gives you that single coil sound with the push of the bigger, it's just a bigger, fatter sounding pickup. It's just an awesome pickup. So I do have one guitar with that, and I have a guitar downstairs that I've been working on for over a year that I actually ordered some Dylan Talk Tone pickups for, and he makes some kick butt P90s. So I ordered those guitars, those pickups for that guitar, but been so busy with life, I kind of dropped the project. So maybe we can get back on track on that project. A processor with different cabinets actually does much more. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm all about it. Everyone here knows I've said your amp is what makes the difference. And I made a comment in the last stream. I hadn't been playing my rack mount amplifier. So let me switch cameras here. Let me get over to, I'm going to switch cameras. This is not my rack amplifier. That is my rack amplifier. So this guy is my baby. It sounds freaking phenomenal. There's nothing like it has 3 preamp stages, and they're not all for gain. Some are for color. It uses 6L6 power amps. I have multiple signal processors in it. It's just an awesome sounding amp. And I was getting a little tainted using this little Yamaha up here. I've been using my Yamaha. Well, it's not mine, it's Linnell's. But I'm so impressed with this $300 Yamaha. And it makes doing the live streams easy. Does it, in the room, does it sound as good as my rack? No, it does not. I fired up my rack this week and I played it. There is just something about a good amplifier. The way it reacts, the way it breaks up, the way it makes the guitar sustain. I'm going to say 85, 90% of your sound is your amp. 100%. I agree 100% with that. And I tell people, if I've got to pick a cheap guitar or a cheap amp, I'm taking the cheap guitar with the good amp. Because I can make that cheap guitar sound good through an amp. If I play that Jackson in my rack, which I did this week, it is freaking stupid. When I say it's stupid good. The Seymour Duncans, everyone knows I'm a Seymour Duncan guy. Some people like DiMarzio. Got no issues. I think DiMarzios are cool too. I've just like Seymour Duncans. I think Seymour Duncans make some of the best sounding pickups. DiMarzio does too. The super distortion and the blade rail, the tone zone or whatever it's called. Hot rail pickup. I've got a hot rail that I bought to put in my other guitar. It's a DiMarzio. They probably on the hot rail side, I would go on the DiMarzio side of the fence. But on the humbucker side, I like the Seymour. That's just me. But that Jackson and that rack mount amp, it sounds awesome. It's hard to convince people of that though. If I take this Ibanez right here, if I take this $450 Ibanez, and there's nothing wrong at all with this guitar, and I plug it into my rack amp, it's phenomenal. This guitar sounds good through that little Yamaha amp. It does. You know, you can do a lot with a good amplifier. And a lot of it is EQ tuning. I was just talking about it earlier. I had set the Yamaha amp up for this guitar because I had used it a couple weeks and I was fine tuning it. So when we did the review on the Jackson, I did not change the amp settings whatsoever. I plugged the guitar right into the amp and it sounded a little mid-focused. It lacked the bottom, okay? So I swept the mid out a little bit, gave it just a little bit more bottom end, and it sounds fine. Your EQ, using an EQ pedal between your guitar and your rig, that's money better spent than pickups. As long as you have something that's decent, if that makes sense. Like if you take a guitar from 5 or 6 years ago when Firefly was making They had some pretty raunchy pickups 5 and 6 years ago. Really microphonic, really tinny sounding. There's only so much you can do with that pickup. But if it has decent pickups, like this guitar, decent pickups, that Squire Nashville Telly, it's decent pickups. That particular Firefly that I have on the wall that started the channel, it has decent pickups. If you EQ it right, you're going to get a good sound out of it. And I don't do any post-processing here. So what I do, it's guitar to the Yamaha modeling amp, out of the headphone jack, right into the interface. Now, if you did any post-processing, you can get it even cleaner. But I don't have an EQ between the guitar and the amp. It's just the 3-band EQ that's on the amp. And my AG08 really, it doesn't have an EQ. It has an EQ when you plug it into the computer. You can do a band pass and stuff. But none of that stuff's turned on because I'm not taking the time and doing all that work in the computer software. I'm just using it as a mixing console and an interface. That's all I'm doing. So there's really no post-processing on what you guys have been hearing. It's easier for me to have the microphone on and then also play the guitar. So let me kill this channel and we'll plug in the Ibanez here. So the big thing is just being able to chat with you guys and also being able to play all at the same time. Everyone knows I'm a tube fan. I like tube amps. There's just a feel about them. So here's the Ibanez. Now you can hear, I turned up the bass a little bit for the Jackson. So now the Ibanez has a little bit of a boom to it. I would love, Ibanez, if you're listening, build me this guitar with a Floyd Rose 1000. Or put a better tremolo in it and contact Dave Kaler and put a Kaler Spider in it. Now, I know Ibanez likes Goto, so fine, put a Goto in it. But put a Low Pro 2 in it. And this guitar would sell to people like me. I mean, this is, I think I've said it before, for the $450 price point, this is the best guitar I have had the opportunity to play at $450. This thing, the pickups are good, the action's good, the feel's good. The Ibanez just knocked it out of the park on this price point. I can buy 4 of these for the price of the Jackson. It's so hard to do reviews today, guys, because if I say this, someone will say something else. If I say this, then someone, oh, it's this, or it's an import, or that's a budget guitar, it's this guitar. Sometimes price point really doesn't matter. If you bond with it and you want it, buy it. You gotta like your instrument, okay? I'm telling you, for 450 bucks, this is a hell of a guitar. But if you look at this guitar and it's just not you, then odds are when you pick it up and play it, you're going to be like, you've already got a down slant, if that makes sense. Well, I don't really like guitars with pointy horns. I like more of the strat rounded horn. You know, it might play great to you, it's just not your thing. Me, I kind of like the look and it plays good. It checks all the boxes except the floating bridge. Believe me, guys, I looked. This is why I bought the PWM. If that PWM is anything like this one or Linnell's newest guitar, I'm going to be in piggy heaven, hoggy heaven, whatever you want to call it. It should be like this, a cross between this guitar and the S guitar with a Godot bridge. I have my fingers crossed. We will find out next Thursday night when we're probably not reviewing the Ibanez next Thursday. We are reviewing an Ibanez next Thursday, but it'll be an S model Ibanez that we're reviewing next Thursday, and we'll most likely be reviewing the PWM 20 the following week, or we have a Squire to review. So, like I said, guys, the next 2 months on this channel, we're going to have a guitar to review every week. Love that little ditty. I like it's a downward progression and you don't expect it because you're going. This is a great playing guitar. You know, I know you guys have to take my word on it. If you have the money, the Jackson's awesome. If you're on a budget and you need something that just rocks, as of right now, I'm giving this Dominion Fretworks under $500 Best Buy. This is just one kick butt instrument. The pickups sound good whether they're clean or distorted. It plays great. It's a simple bridge. It's got all the trademarks of just a guitar that you can just go to the bar, have fun with, and not be overly concerned. It's not a huge purchase. Rezo, I'm gonna tell you something right now. This is what I have determined the difference between tube amps and modeling amps. First, I want to qualify and say that I am a tube amp guy. The major difference, and I could be wrong about this is what I feel these modeling amps are doing. If I take this guitar, okay, the output on these pickups are X, okay? If I take this USA made Jackson right here, the pickups on this guitar are X. They're not congruent. The pickups are not congruent in these two guitars. If I plug it into my $8,000 rack mount guitar amplifier, the tube preamp sees the push of the pickup. And that creates the 12AX7s and my 12AXUs. I got a combination of preamp tubes. They push differently by the output of the pickup. Okay? That's why I go, oh, I like a PAF high output. That's fine. They're trying to push that forward stage. That's why you see people use a boost pedal, okay, or another distortion pedal from the guitar before it goes into the preamp stage. They're trying to push that preamp. The tubes want that. It needs that push. Here's what I think's going on some of these modeling amps. I think on the input stage of the amplifier is reading X from this guitar. It sees X as an input. When the Jackson's plugged in, it sees X as the input. The difference is it's modeling. So let's say this guitar has a lower output pickup than that Jackson. The model itself, the way it's engineered, I believe it's taking that signal and it's bringing it up, okay, to a whatever that perfect level is before it goes into its modeled preamp stage. So if this guitar doesn't have enough push, the amplifier itself on the input stage is changing that push, and it's automatically doing it in certain sections. Like if I go to super lead or this or that, it's almost like a boost pedal in line. It's pushing that preamp at all times at whatever that magic number is, and it's constantly changing it. I truly think a lot of these modelers are doing that, okay? That's not to say that this sounds like my rack mount amp. It doesn't. But if I want that sound out of my rig, I've got to be playing pretty loud. The 12AX7s have to be pushed, and the 6L6s have to be good and hot, and I got to be pushing those. Yes, I can get it to sound like that, and it's going to be fuller, more meaty, more sustained, but it's got to be loud. So then you're going to say, well, okay, well, I'm going to take what do they call those things, a rectifier or whatever. It's like it takes the output and cuts it, okay? Well, those things are expensive. The cheapest one's like $700-800. So now you're going to put one of those in front of it. By the time you get your tube amp, and I'm talking from experience, by the time you get your tube amp tuned down and you get that sound at a low volume, like right now I'm playing this guitar and I am talking to you as I'm playing, and I have no issues whatsoever with my microphone. Why? Because I'm not playing an amplifier. There is no amp in this room. No amplifier whatsoever. So as I talk, I don't have to worry about it interfering with what I'm saying. That microphone right there isn't being influenced by what I'm playing. This doesn't hear the guitar. The guitar's not in the room. All Linnell hears in the kitchen is me playing this guitar unplugged. She doesn't hear it. And you go back and watch our very first streams, I struggled with the microphones in front of the amp, hitting the wrong buttons. Did I like it more? Sure. In the room, my tube amp sounds awesome. I played it out live for years. I've got an awesome tube amp. There's a time and a place for tube amps. This amp sounds good enough, if that makes sense. It sounds good enough. If you're a working musician and I'm getting paid, let's say even if I was getting paid $300 a night, which if you're making $300, you made 300. Now, the whole band would have to make 1,200. You got to pay everybody. If you made $300 a night, I don't want to carry that 1,000-pound rig in. I don't. I want to carry those 2 4-speaker cabinets in. I'm not going to do it. I carry this little head in, put it next to me, go front of house to the PA system. I'm set up and done and ready to play. %90 of that people in the bar are not going to be able to tell this from a tube amp. It's good enough. And for me to say that, guys, believe me, that's hard for me to say it because I like tube amps. And believe me, I hear the difference. I hear the difference. The legacy on this Yamaha is non-existent. As far as my feel under my fingers and what I hear, I hate to say it, I can't tell the difference between that amp and my tube amp. There's nothing about this guitar that amplifier that makes me hesitate or go, something's not right. It's now. I'm sure there has to be legacy because it's digital, but it has to be such a minute amount that I can't tell it. Okay? There's legacy in my rack mount rig. There has to be, because I have so many different inserts and effects chains. Insert going into here, coming back through, going back through the processor, going through a line tube amp, back into the delay, back into this unit, then coming out to the BBE, back into the ART, then down to the power amp, then out to the signal path is erratic. It's going all over the place to the different rack mount pieces. So there has to be time delay there. Call it sag, that point where your transformer and your power amp can't keep up because you've got the thing cranked up so much. When you hit that and it needs that extra current and the voltage drops off, your transformer just says, I can't do it. I can't deliver 300 and some volts at this amount of amperage. And the amp just sags. It starts to die. This modeling amp gives me that sag feel. Is it perfect? I mean, probably not. But it's good enough. And if I'm going out in today's bars, from what I understand, doesn't pay that much. I'm not gonna lug 500, 600 pounds of equipment into a place to make $200 or $300. I'm not. And most bars now, they want a quiet stage. You got to show up with your guitar, your line 6 stomp, front of house. They're going to send you what you hear through your monitor. That's the future. That's how smaller places are being played now. It's been a hard journey for me to get used to the new thing, and I am embracing it because I know this live stream has gotten better because this microphone isn't picking up my 412 cabinet. You guys can hear me better. Everything works better. Does it sound better? I like my tube amp, but this is good enough. You gotta like that tone. Now, it might be a little too dirty for you, but for high gain, you gotta like that. That's and this is coming out of a $300 amplifier. It's $300, guys. I mean, when I started playing a Gorilla amplifier, which was a horrible POS, those things were $200. And they sounded awful. Little 8-inch speaker. Yeah, imagine bad. Times square that by 10. Those things were horrible. This is a $300 amplifier. Directly into my interface, directly to you guys. And a what I'll call budget guitar because it's under $500, $450 guitar, and a $300 amplifier. I think it actually sounds better unplugged. When you put this little amplifier against the wall, it's stereo and it bounces off the back of the wall. It sounds better in the room than it does on YouTube or through these headphones. It misses through the headphones. I don't get the stereo imaging. It's stereo, but the way the speaker's in the cabinet and the way it reflects off the wall, it's just a full sounding amplifier. I am so impressed with this little tiny amplifier, and it weighs 5 pounds. It probably weighs the same as this guitar. It's crazy. It's crazy good. And I've heard people talk about the Sparks. Maybe the Spark's awesome. I can't say anything about the Spark. I can tell you about the Katana. The Katana has nothing on this Yamaha. It might have more effects, but it's more complicated. You gotta use your phone, you gotta do this, you gotta get a computer app, you gotta do that. I don't do anything. I go up and turn a knob. It's got all kinds of effects. I just go up, turn the knob. Oh, I want more delay. I turn the knob, more delay. Oh, I want delay and reverb. I put it on delay and reverb. Oh, I want more delay, a little more reverb. I just turn a knob. I want it. Oh, I need more bass. I turn a knob. I need more gain. I turn a knob. With the Katana, you can't do that. I don't know about the Spark. Don't know. I don't know if you can individually adjust the amount or the mix. You can on this Yamaha. It's easy. It's quick and easy. And I'm all about quick and easy. Look at my guitar. Look at my other rack. And this is coming from someone. There's nothing quick and easy. Oh, there's nothing quick and easy about that rack. Nothing. Nothing quick and easy. If you want to talk about a programming nightmare and people talk about effects chains and programming, I don't want to hear about it. Because there's two little lines. Distortion is D-I-S-T. Okay, that tells you you're on the distortion. Then it'll go gain, G-A. And then you got a percentage, and then it'll say LV. That means level. Percentage, go to the next parameter. And that's how the screen works. It's circa 1990. Everything, even programming the MIDI is a nightmare. I've got 2 MIDI controllers that control it. That's a programming nightmare. But that's what I learned on. For me, I can program it pretty quick. But it's far easier just to get up and turn a knob. And it's good enough. I can't say that enough. I can take this Yamaha with a very cheap guitar, and it's going to sound good. The bones of this little amplifier, it's going to sound good. The difference is, and I want to qualify this, now if I'm wrong, we'll know in 30 years. I don't think in 30 years that Yamaha amp will be working. I could be wrong. My rack mount amp is. It's serviceable. Even though my ART is a DSP and it looks like a computer inside, the tube amp side is hardwired. It's all just junked with wires. It's so funny looking. It looks like an old Fender on one side and the other side looks like a computer. They mixed it. It's mixed technology. The AMR, Mike on the channel rebuilt for me. He services amps. It's made like a, late 80s, early 90s Marshall inside. My Pro Valve power amp, it's all hand wired. It's serviceable. Socket goes out, replace the socket. The only thing that's probably not serviceable is my Synergy, which I just added to the rack. I'm pretty sure that has some micro components in it. I've got the Friedman module and the Sedano Slow module. How serviceable they are, I don't know. It hasn't broke yet. Hope it doesn't break. But most of my rack is 25 to 30 years old. It still functions. It does have some issues. It's not perfect. It's old. I hope the Yamaha lasts 20 or 30 years. I do. But who's to say? Maybe the new digital stuff will outperform and outlast some of the solid state stuff, like the Roland Jazz courses. Those things were just bulletproof tanks.
Kurt said Gorilla amp was better than a pig nose amp.
That's true. I'll give you credit on that one. The Gorilla was better than the little pig nose. It's just a good sounding amp, guys.
Vox wants to know how you're making out with your dental issue.
Oh, did Vox join? I gotta go to the chat. Vox joined. Oh, Vox did join. We were just talking about you, Vox, about 30 or 40 minutes ago. I'm like, I haven't seen Vox tonight.
Resolution is in too.
Oh.
Tap.
Honeytap came in. He's got another retracted message. I know what the retracted message was. Sell your guitar, you suck at playing. Guarantee you. I know, but I might be a bad guitar player, but I have fun being a bad guitar player. And not bad being good, like, bad just being poor.
Vox wants to know how your dental issue is doing.
I am doing far better. I think everyone can tell tonight I'm actually talking like a human. I haven't slurred near as much as I was the last stream. Of course, there's still a big spot up in here, but it is far better. I don't have the lockjaw feel that I was having. Guys, I was going to bed, getting up in the middle of the night, and I just felt like my jaw was going to lock up.
Jupe said he fixed it. He sent you a bit of honey.
Yeah, it's all Jupe's fault. That last bag of bit of honey just destroyed my tooth. But I think, guys, if you find something that works for you, I talk about what works for me. So I think in today's world, there's so many options out there. Whether I think Kurt was talking earlier. He's waiting for the new Line 6 when it comes out this fall. He's like, yes, that's going to be for me. You know, I know a lot of people, they're into the Quad Cortex. All these companies are shifting. You know, I know what was the one modeler everyone's really dogging on because they waited 15 years to update it, and they didn't really do too much of an update. They're really kind of dogging the product, the new release. I don't know. Hopefully, Line 6 will nail it. I'm pretty sure Line 6 and Yamaha are pretty much I'm thinking Yamaha did the Line 6 thing or owns Line 6. I can't remember if that's true or not. Line 6 has got a good reputation. So if their new engine and their new interface works as well as their last platform, 10 years, guys, for hardware. That's saying something. Their hardware is pretty much the same the last 10 years. All they've been doing is tweaking this or that in the programming stage. But the basic hardware has stayed pretty much the same. They've added a little bit more memory here and there, but the basic concept of the Helix has been around for 10 years. So if they can learn from that experience and they've done their testing, and this new product is like the old one, you know, the Helix wasn't their first go around. Believe me, I'm a pod owner. I bought a rack mount pod, one of the first production runs, and it was awful. Well, it was awful. You talking about legacy? It didn't. I mean, everyone in the band said it sounded fine, but I went right back to my ART, which was way less high tech. The bit rate was slower. Everything on paper said the Line 6 would be better. It just didn't have that feel. It may have sounded better, but it didn't feel right under the fingers when you played it. The legacy wasn't there. It just, you felt disconnected with it. So the Helix, you don't get that feeling. I don't really get a disconnected feeling when I play my Line 6 HX Stomp. What I struggle with on the HX Stomp is the architecture itself. Knowing what to tweak, when to tweak, or when I hear something funny, knowing how to fix it. They all have their quirks. My ART has quirks. The delay sucks in applied research technology. I'm not going to say it sucks. It just has an artifact. It's called the art artifact. It used to be a big thing in 91, 92, 93, 94. Everyone's, oh, it's an art artifact. That term come from ART because people that played guitar could walk into a bar, that guy's playing an art. They had a sound, and most people go, oh, that's a Marshall. I can tell by the sound. Well, when they said that about art, it wasn't a good thing. They wasn't saying, that art's just got a sound. They wasn't saying, like, I like it. They were saying, there's something wrong with it. I learned how to program it and work around it. It's still there. People that know ART, they know that art sound. You can still hear it if you go back and look at my demos, like the Monsoon that we did, pretty much most of my demos were playing through the rack. You'll hear it. You'll hear a fragment. It's almost like a legacy or a skip where it's just artificial. It's hard to explain, but you'll hear it in the delay. Pay attention to the delay. ART's delay just wasn't open and full sounding. It sounded kind of flat and artificial. Everything else sounded awesome on them. It's just the delay wasn't that good with them. The pod, everything about the pod was better. The delays were better. The reverbs were better. The choruses were better. Where the pod screwed up, the preamp just sucked on it. It was a horrible preamp. It was a solid state or modeled digital, and it just wasn't any good. It sounded artificial. It sounded fake. It Everyone said that. I mean, they sold the you know what out of them for the first 2 years, and then they come out with the blackface pod. Then they had the express pod, and then I think at that point that's when they went to the helix architecture. But it took them a couple years to figure it out. So hopefully, with all the improvements they've done on the helix architecture, Line 6 has got those bugs out, and they've got enough people out there that they've sent these units to that are beta testing them. Hopefully, they've got it worked out, if that makes sense. Metallica went to see Tool once. Then it scrolled up on me.
It says then they instantly switched to diesels.
Back in the day, most bands were running. I hate to say it, most of those heads that you saw on stage were fake. Most of them were running VHT power amps with ADA heads, modified ADA preamps. Back then, people were putting dual 12AX7s in the ADAs, and they were running Lexicon or something else on their digital signal processing. You'd be surprised how many bands, like Def Leppard, those walls of amps, they were fake. They were running VHT power amps with ADAs. Now, they could say what they want, but I know for a fact that's what they were using. That's what they used at Nissan Pavilion when we were doing sound through Network Studios. I was able to go back there and look at it. They were VHT power amps. He had 4 VHT power amps, the purple ones, and he had 2 ADA rack mount units. One was a backup, and one was like an esoteric, and then TC Electronics and Lexicon was the 2 processors that he was using. Those heads were empty. They were just carcasses. And believe it or not, only 4 of his cabinets worked. The rest of the cabinets were fake. They weren't hooked up. They were just there for looks. That's just how it was. A lot of that stuff was for show, guys. I'd be surprised how many bands had a little rack behind those wall Marshalls or those walls of Laney's, And if they were using them, they had 3 or 4 of them wired in series, and only a couple cabinets working, and the rest were for looks. You gotta stop and think of the current that would require, guys. You got 3 or 4 100-watt amps, and you've got 15 of them. That's a lot of current. A lot of current. Not saying that the VHT didn't take a lot of current. That was a 120-watt monster, cut your head off power amplifier. And Def Leppard was using 4 of those monsters. That's a lot of freaking power. Lot of power. Lots of power. Time caught up. Oh, it's just Kurt's. Later, Bird. Oh, Birdman's going. Take it easy, Birdman.
Well, it is like 11, 12.
Oh yeah. I keep forgetting, guys. Tonight is Thursday, and we're doing the live stream marathon tonight. We've already been at it for 3 hours and 15 minutes. We actually missed our second break, but that does bring us to the point where I do have an AM job, guys. So I'm gonna have to call it a night. Tonight has been a super awesome chat night. Hopefully, I haven't upset anybody. And we're all here with opinions, and I've seen the chat just scrolling by, so hopefully everyone has put their opinion in the chat. That's what it's about. We're all here to go back, read the comments. I go back on every stream. Ask Linnell. I rewatch every stream once the chat comes up, and I pay attention to the way the mic sounds, the way the guitar sounds, and I read the comments. And I do that for a couple of different reasons. I want to see how engaging certain topics are. And I like to also see when you guys just go off on a tangent. I'm talking over here, and you guys are just talking about something completely different as I ramble in the background. That's always quite comical. And that happens more than you guys realize. Some of y'all's conversations are quite hysterical. And sometimes I learn a lot too. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. So I always love going back and reading the chat. It's awesome. And if I haven't said it this stream, without you guys, the stream wouldn't be possible because you got a chat rate was up to 12. It just dropped down. So I've seen it going up to like 16. That's always good. Lots of emojis. Saw some hearts earlier. All these things the YouTube AI system likes. So I greatly appreciate that, guys. I really do. But like we do on every stream, we are going to do 5 minutes where everyone can do closing comments. You can throw popcorn at the screen. You can do all the things that you wasn't allowed to do. Just think of it as like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So you can start throwing stuff at the screen right now and doing whatever you need to do and closing your conversations. But Saturday night, we're doing another live, and we're going to have a new guitar to play on Saturday night. So I hope everyone comes in for that. We pick up Linnell's new Ibanez S model, and it is a beautiful guitar. Dragon Eye Burst. It's a beautiful guitar. So I hope you guys come and check out our new guitar. We'll definitely play it. But here is our ending soon scene. 5 minutes for everyone to close up the chat.